Yeah, boss of YouTube, Almas here, and I have for you guys today a new series that I'm actually really excited to start. Basically, the general idea behind the series is that I'm gonna be uploading, narrating, I guess you could say, 5th gen battles. Basically, very good 5th gen replays that I have saved up. Now, the reason why I want to do this is because 5th gen was very fun for me. For those of you who don't know, I started quote-unquote competitive battling late 4th gen, so I was here for the end of 4th gen, for the beginning and end of Black and White, and the beginning and end of Black and White 2, and then I'm still here for 6th gen. And I do have a lot of really good old Black and White and Black and White 2 Showdown replays backed up, and that's kind of why I want to showcase them to you guys, because it'll show you like how the metagame has evolved since 5th gen to 6th gen, and I think it'd be a great way to show you guys, those who don't know much about 5th gen or who haven't really dabbled in 5th gen much and only started watching around 6th gen, to see the past metagames in the tiers that I will be uploading. I do have a lot of really good NU, UU, and some OU replays backed up. I also think I have some really good Ubers battles, not many RU battles, because Black and White and Black and White 2 RU were not my favorite tier. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below if you guys would like to see more of the series. The general idea is to upload one of these at least once a week. I want to say every Tuesday. This will probably be going up on Thursday just because Throwback Thursday, Throwback Showdown, and just, yeah, let me know if you guys are excited for this. And of course, if you are, then make sure to hit the like button down below, because I myself am really excited for the series. Of course, the continuation of the series is all dependent on you guys and how well the feedback is. So yeah, of course, if you do enjoy it, then you know what to do. Anyways, let's take a look at the teams. And the team that I'm using is a team that I actually based around Dwebble. At the time, Crustal was actually RU. And I really had a fond love for hyper offense in NU, because in NU there was really no good reliable spinners in the tier. I think the only 2 spinners were Armaldo, which is on my team, and War Turtle. The reason why I chose Armaldo over War Turtle is because this was a Swords Dance rapid spin variant, which means if I didn't need to absolutely rapid spin, I could set up a Swords Dance and try to do damage with Armaldo. And Armaldo does have a surprisingly high physical attack set, so +2, you can bet that it would be doing some solid damage to my opponent's Pokemon. But the general idea behind the team was to lead off with lead off with Dwebble, get up rocks and spikes, and then just put in work and spin block with Choice Banded Golurk, Focus Sash Alakazam as a save fodder. Basically, if my opponent decided to try to set up, I do have Encore on it. If Amon got out of control, Kadabra does have a pretty respectable special attack stat, so I could come in, survive on my Focus Sash, and knock him out. Next off, we have Rain Dance Ludicolo as the late game cleaner, because if you don't know, Ludicolo was easily one of the top 3 biggest threats in the tier because of Rain Dance. Modest Rain Dance Ludicolo was a monster, and with rocks and spikes, you can bet that this thing would put in a lot of work. And then finally off, we had Alomomola. Yes, if for those of you who do not know, Alomomola actually used to be NU, and this was just kind of my pivot for the team, because not only was it very bulky, but it had access to Regenerator and Wish if my Golurk got worn down, as well as my Ludicolo from Life Orb Rico or my Armaldo. So yeah, all in all, I thought this was a pretty solid team. So looking at my opponent's team going into this match, I automatically knew that this would not be offensive Caracosta, because if it was, it would actually destroy my team. The reason why I know this is because he doesn't have any form of Stealth Rocker on his team, and if I'm not mistaken at the time, defensive Caracosta was kind of popular, because Shell Smash offensive Caracosta couldn't always guarantee a sweep, or would only kill 1 Mon and then get revenged, or still outsped by a potential Scarfer. So going into this match, I was not at all worried about the Caracosta. Samurott could definitely be a problem, because if it was Swords Dance, it could potentially sweep through my team, because at +4 I think it does actually Oko Alomomola with Mega Horn, so that's something I really have to watch out for. Also, Regice is a huge problem to my team, because if I lose Golurk, then I lose the only thing that can potentially outspeed it and knock it out, so I really have to watch out for this Regice. Also, Garbodor could be a huge problem if it sets up Toxic Spikes, just because, as I said, Alomomola is the defensive pivot in my team, which can actually switch into a lot of attacks coming from his side of the field. If this is actually Special Samurott, then my Alomomola is that much more valuable to me. So going into this match, I was pretty much mainly watching out for a Samurott being a Swords Dance variant. So he ends up leading off with Kangaskhan. As I end up leading off with my Golurk, right off the bat, I'm going to switch directly into my Alomomola just because Kangaskhan does have Scrappy, and this will allow me to potentially go for a Toxic or a free Waterfall, but I'm actually going to pull a double switch into my Golurk, knowing that I will be able to outspeed Regice. I stay in thinking, hey, I'm adamant Choice Band. Regice doesn't have the best physical defense around. This is an easy KO and one potential threat out of the way. No, it lives, and in return destroys my soul with Ice Beam. And that is very bad for me. As I bring in Dwebble, I'm thinking, okay, I can get up rocks, take the Ice Beam, get up Lair Spikes, and knock him out with Rock Blast. No, he turns out to be a Resto Chesto variant, which is actually really scary. So putting myself into this predicament, I'm going to be forced to go for the aggressive play, which is Rock Blast, as I'm able to get off a solid chunk of damage on the Regice. He does unfortunately end up paralyzing me, but I'm going to be able to get up a Lair Spikes. However, though, I do unfortunately get fully paralyzed, and here I'm going to stay in knowing that he's not going to Shell Smash. I'm just going to try to get up as many hazards as I possibly can, as he does just end up getting up the Stealth Rocks of his own as he decides to switch into his Garbodor, which honestly Garbodor is not a problem to me, just because I still do have Armaldo, so I still will be able to Rapid Spin. So I get up my second Lair Spikes, and I'm going to stay in trying to get up my third layer, which luckily I am able to do so, which means I can save Dwebble for later in this battle. So expecting him to want to go for a regular layer of Spikes, I'm actually going to switch into my Armaldo. However, though, he makes a nice double switch into Samurott, and here the reason why I decided to stay in was because I was really banking on the fact that he would be a Swords Dance Samurott. Unfortunately, though, as you see there, he goes for Surf. Now, the reason why this is extremely terrible for me is because he now gets to keep his Toxic Spikes and his Stealth Rocks, which means my entire team will get poisoned, giving me a very bad disadvantage in this battle. And this Samurott will still be able to roam the field, which is very bad for me. As it turns out that he has Life Orb, I'm going to go ahead and actually bring in my Kadabra, because even if he has Aqua Jet, I do have the Focus Sash. So I actually pull a double switch into my Alomomola, I believe, expecting him to want to bring in the Caracosta, just because I can beat Caracosta one-on-one. But he actually ends up foddering off the Regice, which I'm perfectly fine with, because that is one giant threat out of the way, as he ends up bringing in the Garbodor. To an extent, I am a little bit worried about Garbodor, but honestly, it's not that big of an issue, just because at the amount of issue that it's at, I know that I will be able to knock it out with Alomomola, and this is when Waterfall was actually common on Alomomola. Nowadays, you see it running a Scald just for the burn chance. So, seeing that he most likely is just going to want to get up his hazards, I don't want to start racking up toxic damage on Alomomola, so I'm going to make the safe switch into my Kadabra, get a guaranteed KO because of all the hazards that I have set up. As I'm able to knock out the Garbodor, I'm going to decide to switch into my Alomomola, knowing that he's going to want to go for the Fake Out, and then this way I can gauge to see how much damage a potential Double Edge will do. But back in the day, most Kangaskhan's just used to run return, because Double Edge really wasn't all that necessary. So I'm going to be able to go for the Wish and live the toxic damage, allow me to not only go for Protect, but gain my Wish, and when I switch out into Dwebble, I'm going to be able to gain Regenerator HP, which means I will be able to save my Alomomola for a longer in this match, as I do end up bringing in my Dwebble. I believe after all this hazard damage and the double edge damage, he actually brings me into range where my Custard Berry will be able to activate, and I'm going to be able to get off a bit of extra damage with my Rock Blast. Unfortunately, though, I only get 2 hits, but it's not that big of a deal, because that extra bit of damage is going to come in handy for me, as I'm going to be able to bring in my Ludicolo. I pretty much get a free kill with Ludicolo here, as I'm just going to go ahead and go for the Giga Drain, as he actually decides to fodder off Alomomola, knowing that Alomomola really cannot do anything in this battle because of Ludicolo. As I'm able to knock him out, he can now get a free switch back into his Samurott or into his Kangaskhan, as he decides to bring in his Kangaskhan. I'm really not too concerned by this Kangaskhan, just because, as you saw earlier, Alomomola can easily take a Double Edge, or return, sorry, as he actually just ends up going for the safe Fake Out. I'm just going to stay in and just make the aggressive play and go for the Waterfall, because this Kangaskhan could prove to still be a bit of a nuisance with Sucker Punch, and by making the aggressive play, I guarantee that I get rid of another potential threat, as I'm actually going to be able to live the toxic damage, so I will be able to get switch initiative. As he ends up bringing in Caracasa, I'm going to get off a little bit of damage with my waterfall, as he's going to be able to knock me out with his waterfall. However, though, at this point, I can just go ahead and bring in Ludicolo, click Giga Drain, and ensure that I KO Caracasa, and if Samura is able to finish me off, as long as he doesn't freeze me with the Ice Beam, which at that point would be the only way he could win this battle, I will be able to pull out the victory. But because Ludicolo does have a massive special defensive stat, I will be able to take the incoming Ice Beam or potential Air Slash if he did carry it, and in return knock him out with whatever move I want to go for, and that is going to be the very narrow 2-0 victory in my favor. So as you can see, that was a really intense game. Do want to go ahead and apologize if the narration was a little bit messed up. As you guys know, it's been a while since I post-narrated a battle, but still, I am very excited for the series. So again, guys, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, let me know in the comment section below if you are excited for the series, as well as showing off your support. You hit the like button down below. And with that being said, guys, thank you all for watching. I will see you all tomorrow. So later, everybody.